Welcome to an episode of Founder in the Chair. I'm your host, Veena, and today I'm joined by Sonali, founder of Lilac Rose Designs, a brand identity strategist who blends deep strategy with intuition, alignment, and self-trust. Sonali's journey is one of resilience, reinvention, and learning how to trust herself again, not just in business, but in life. Growing up in a home shaped by divorce brought its own challenges early on, planting seeds of independence whilst also navigating emotional uncertainty. Later in life, she faced profound heartbreak. Just one day before her wedding, she got the courage to walk out and call off the wedding. A moment that required immense strength to process, both privately and publicly. Not long after marrying her now husband, Sonali experienced the devastating loss of a stillborn baby at 5 months. A life-altering chapter that reshaped her perspective, boundaries, and relationship with herself. Through deep inner work, intuition, and healing, Sonali rebuilt her confidence and learned to honour her truth. That journey now sits at the heart of her business, helping women feel seen, empowered, and aligned in who they are and how they show up. Sonali's story is a powerful reminder that no matter what you've been through, you can take back control, trust yourself again, and create a life and business that truly reflects you. I'm so excited to welcome Sonali. Welcome, Sonali.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, what a story. I've known you a little while. I didn't even know all of that.
I don't tell very many people, to be honest. It's one of those things that I've just kept hidden, thinking people would judge me. And yeah, it's just, I've realised that it's part of my story. So why should I keep it hidden?
It's made you who you are today.
It has made me who I am today.
And that's how you connect with people then
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that doesn't even show a tenth of the stuff I've been through. But we're not there. We're not talking about that. But it's really shaped me. It's really shaped me for who I am today.
I love that for you. And I love that you're in your brand colours today.
Of course. It has to be on brand.
Tell us a little bit about how you came up with the name.
Oh, so Lilac Rose Designs. So many of you that know me before will know that I used to run a products business some years ago, long before I had my daughter, and actually long before I even married my husband.
What sort of products?
I used to make personalised gifts.
Okay.
Frames, anything that were for children's bedrooms, for weddings.
Okay.
And I very quickly realised that I was enjoying the designing side more. The photography and setting it all up and putting it all in the frame was actually quite boring. Mm-hmm. And it would take so long to do. But I could knock out designs I could sit there for hours. And it was when I joined a mastermind thinking that I wanted to progress that business, I was very quickly diverted into what I do now. And it was the coach of mine at that time who said to me, have you ever thought about helping businesses with business card designs or packaging material? And I thought, hang on a second, I've done this for myself. I've just rebranded that product business after a long battle. So you'll find some content on my Instagram about that. And I realised how much I was actually enjoying doing that. And she said to me, well, why don't you introduce it on the side? And it just didn't sit right to have a product business and then to serve businesses, 2 different audiences. And that was when Lilac Rose Designs was born. So I was sat there one evening thinking, well, what can I do? What can I name this? Because I didn't want to put my name to it. It didn't feel right at the time, although I am very much my own personal brand, my brand colours.
Yes, and we see you on your page all the time.
Of course, it has
I love
to be.
it.
I am a purple freak. Most of the things in my house, including my trainers that I've worn in today, which have changed, were purple today as well. Lilac has just always been a part of my life. And lilac just came to me and I thought, oh, what else goes with that? And I thought, roses, that's my favourite flower. And it just stuck, Lilac Rose Designs. And even though I rebranded, gosh, it's coming up to a year in March. I changed my brand colors, I changed my logo, but the name just stuck. There's just something so deeply connected that name, I think, will always stay.
So you mentioned you just rebranded.
Yes.
Is it important for a company to rebrand? And if so, why and when?
So rebranding or looking at or revisiting your brand is quite important if you are changing. If you're changing market, you're changing, if your ideal client has changed, if your service has changed, or what you provide has changed, or even if you as a person has changed. So I'm finding a lot of clients that come to me are on that cusp of change. They're entering into a new market, they are serving new clients, or they've learned a new skill and they want to start offering that as a service. And it is important to review your brand regularly because your colors need to resonate with your ideal clients. Because obviously, as you know, colors have a psychological meaning behind them. What we perceive as humans is obviously different per person. You know, red, for example, can be perceived as danger, but the right shade of red can also be perceived as love. So it's about getting the right colors. So yes, I do encourage people to look at their brand. A rebrand is not always necessary. It can just be refreshed. So it may mean you change your colors. It may mean that you change your messaging. And of course, your brand is made up of so many different elements, and your logo is actually a very tiny percent.
So when, let's say, somebody wanted to work with you, what does that look like? So let's say I contacted you now and said, I want to rebrand Founder in the Chair, for example. What does that process look like?
So first of all, I am getting to know you, your story, why you started, why Founder in the Chair, what does it mean to you? Really stripping it back down to basics. And once I can understand where you've started, what that story looks like, then we start going into the strategy, right? Who do we want to target? What services do you want to offer? What's your price point? So we're looking at all of the variables. I've had clients that have said to me, I'm going to charge this price. And I've said, girl, you are undercharging yourself. No, go back and remember how many hours you're putting into a package with the client and then divide that by the number of hours and see what you're paying yourself. So it's very important to do the foundation work, look at the strategy behind where we're going before we even tackle the physical, visual identity. So your logos and everything.
It's really surprising you said the logo is actually a small part because everyone just gets fixated
They do.
on their logo. I want it to look like this, these colours, etc. When you just said the logo's not such a big part. And these days, I guess it's a lot about you as a brand as well.
Of course. Absolutely. I mean, this is why I wear brown. I was going to say brown, not brown. This is why I wear purple.
Yeah.
It is a part of me. And yes, a lot of your brand colours are what you like as a person. And chances are your ideal client is very similar to you. And this is why a lot of people provide the services they do, because they've gone through something and they want to help others through whatever that might be.
So as they say, people do buy people.
They do.
They buy a story.
Absolutely.
Then they're going to buy your product or your service.
Absolutely. Your story is very important.
So your journey and resilience hasn't been straightforward from early life challenges and navigating loss and major personal shifts. How have these experiences shaped the woman who you are today in business?
So, I mean, I've gone through quite a lot in early childhood. Like you said, my parents separated. They had a very difficult divorce. You know, it went on for many years. They fought over everything, including my brother and I. And, you know, that really does start to affect you as a child. You know, you start doubting yourself. You've got the fear of judgment because you're automatically labelled that you've come from this broken home. And it's taken many, many years to break from that label. I mean, even into when I got, when I was getting married or when my now husband proposed, it came up then. And my in-laws at the time actually did say that, well, she's come from a broken home. What's the guarantee that she will be able to stay with you and be a part of this family? But, 14 years in, and things are different. They're realizing who I am because I've had the strength to stick by my guns, my personality. And like I said, it's taken me a long time to break free from those stigmas. So growing up, early life was tough. You had to deal with the fears, the insecurities, and I actually grew up around quite a few strong women in the family. And they had their positives, they had their negatives. Many of them had their traumas. And it was quite early on that I realized I didn't want to be like them. And a lot of this came to light when I had my daughter 9 years ago now. A lot of the insecurities came back up to surface. And it made me realize that I couldn't be that person anymore. I needed to step up for this little human that's watching me. I have to be that role model for her. And so I got started on my healing. I've gone through, even in my early years, I had some therapy. And yes, it's helped surface level. But the deep work that I've been doing more recently has really shaped who I am. And that really does help me work with my clients because it helps me connect with whatever they've been through.
And do they end up sharing that with you when they're talking about their business journey?
They do. I seem to have that effect. My discovery calls, I've had people break down and cry. So I'm very much about holding space for them. I feel like they need to get over that. They need to let it out because I may be the first person that's listening to them or giving them that space. And like I said, it all forms a part of your story. So whether you decide to talk about it or not is your choice, but that shapes your brand.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because people probably come on the call and think it's going to be a very business call. She's going to help me do my colours, my branding, all of that. And yet it then becomes something else.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant that you hold space. So intuition, alignment, Reiki as well.
Absolutely.
So after your granddad passed, you were intuitively guided toward Reiki, which became a turning point for you. How did you reconnect with your intuition, change your confidence, boundaries, and the way you work? Because you just mentioned recently things changed.
Yes. So my grandfather passed in April 21.
Okay.
Not very long ago. And I think that was probably my lowest point. He was very close to me. I grew up with him. And due to family politics, obviously parents' divorce, I wasn't allowed to keep in touch with him. Not from my mum's side, but from my dad's side. And the many years that I did try, there was all sorts of politics and pushback. And so when a week before he passed, I just had this feeling that someone was going. And his face flashed across. And I thought, that's very strange. Haven't thought about him in a while. I must go and see him. I really must go and see him. And this was a few days before my daughter's birthday. And she became ill. She had a fever. And so the whole week went in looking after her. And I'd made my mind up that I was going to see him that Friday. That Thursday afternoon, I got the call to say that he'd passed. And it was awful. I lived in regret for a year that I didn't go and see him in his point, when he was passing or when he was probably even thinking of me. But all these years later, I realized that I wasn't meant to see him in that state. I was meant to remember him in the memories I had. I mean, I lived with him up until I was almost 20, even older than 20.
Okay.
It's a very long time. And I wasn't meant to see him in his frail, old, unwell days, being in a hospital bed. So yes, when he passed, I was intuitively guided to learn Reiki. And I'd experienced Reiki in my younger years because an aunt of mine had done a Reiki session on me. And I just remember feeling very relaxed. Didn't think anything of it, never really came back up. And so when I learnt Reiki, I learnt it purely to heal myself, because I didn't want my daughter having to go through anything that I had been through. And I wanted her to have a mum who could be there for her, who she could speak to, who wasn't just dealing with her own traumas and problems and things that she'd grown up with. So Reiki has really, really shaped my life. Honestly, it's allowed me to heal parts of my life, my trauma, some of the things that I've been through that therapy hasn't even scratched the surface of.
Amazing.
And, it's really brought me back to myself. It's really helped me understand who I am at the core and really deepen my intuition, which a lot of it was already there. I'd just been ignoring it for so many years. I'd learned to kind of think, nah, that's just your gut talking. No, you don't need to listen to that. As I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. Because it's normally that voice we're scared to listen to.
Yes. And the more I've been practicing and the more I've been listening to it, the more I'm realizing my first answer is always right. And in the same way, when I work with my clients, generally, the first concept I present to them is always a concept we come back to. Because that was my intuitive nudge to go, this is what's going to work.
Interesting. So when did you actually do your Reiki course?
In 2021 was when I did my level 1 and 2. And as of 2023, November, I am Reiki master now. And so everything I do is infused with Reiki.
So do you just still do it for yourself? You don't do it?
Purely for myself.
Okay.
But Reiki is one of those things that just flow. You can't stop it. It goes where it needs to go. And so the work that I do, whether it's my strategy sessions, whether it's the design work, is automatically infused with Reiki.
So I'll tell you a little secret. I did a Reiki course. So it was level 1 and I did it very soon after my divorce. And I didn't protect myself when I practiced on a friend of mine. And she was going through a divorce, a bit of trauma. And I did a session without protecting myself. She felt great. I cried for the next 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Felt shit for days.
Yeah.
And I vowed never to go back. But it's my fault because I didn't do it right. And so I know how powerful it is because there was nothing, I wasn't going through anything at the time, but I started going through everything she was going through and she felt great. Yeah. She felt really light. So that was a big lesson learned for me. So I can well imagine how powerful Reiki is.
Very. I mean, I have to very much be mindful about protecting myself in spaces. Whether that's events, networking, sometimes I can come back feeling very drained. And yes, like you said, it's a very powerful tool if you can use it correctly.
That gave me a little shiver. Identity, confidence and visibility. So many women struggle with confidence and visibility in their business. What did it take for you to stop shrinking, to trust yourself and fully own your expertise?
Gosh, that is a question. So if you knew me some years ago, in fact, if you ask my friends, my cousins, my family even, I was that shy person in the corner somewhere.
Yeah.
I still am that person, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like in two places now.
Yeah.
I'm the introverted extrovert, I think that's how I'd put it.
Okay.
So I was always very shy. I remember my mum, pushing me to go on stage. Come on, you've got to learn this. You've got to learn dance. You've got to do this. You've got to sing. We were very kind of pushed into culture, music, and I'm very grateful for that. It's really shaped me into who I am. But that little person, that little child, I was scared. I wasn't that person that wanted to be on camera. And when I launched Lilac Rose Designs, I knew that needed to change because when I had the products business, I was purely hiding behind the brand. Because there was a part of me that I was listening to family members that were saying, don't put your face on it because someone's going to copy you and people will talk about you. And now I think, who cares? Let them copy me, right? So if you look at my early reels of when I started Lilac Rose Designs, they're very kind of poker face, very much pointing here, pointing there. Go back and have a look at them. They're brilliant. Very cringe. But it's taken practice. It's really the small steps, you know, just kind of getting out there. I was very fortunate to have a coach who said to me, I'm challenging you to go live every week. And every week I need it to be longer. And she said, start with 5 minutes. And I said, what am I going to talk about? And she's like, tell people about your business. Tell them how you're going to help them. And I grew to like it. It got to a point where I was doing, you know, our lives with other people, bringing other businesses in. We're talking about how we can co-create space and help people with their business. And so for me, confidence wasn't naturally there. It's taken time. It's taken practice. And it's taken conscious effort to actually get out there and take small steps every single day.
So the more you kept doing it, the more it just became easier.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, even when I first met you're not the same Sonali
Definitely
anymore.
not.
I think, how many years ago did I meet you? For about
3-4 years ago,
Yeah.
I think so.
You're very different now.
Completely.
So when I see you now on social media, I'm like, oh, here she is.
But this is the thing. I think one thing I say to my clients when they're struggling with their confidence and visibility is focus on your message. What is it that you're out there to help your clients with? That's the main thing. Because when you focus on your message, you will naturally be confident. So I'll ask them in calls to talk to me about themselves and their business. What do they do? And I see this shy, timid person that suddenly jumps out of their shell because they're allowed to speak about what they do. And that's the place I want people to be coming from.
I love that. So you mentioned you had a coach.
Yes.
Would you say it's important to have a coach in your business?
I think it depends where you are in your journey and what your goals are. If I think about when I had the coaches, they probably were not right for me at that time or for the right reasons. The first coach I had, bless her, absolutely brilliant, really good at what she did. I just wasn't at that level. The second coach I joined because I thought, well, she's helped other people to grow, so she'll help me grow. And she did, don't get me wrong. But again, it wasn't the help I needed at that time of business. I joined her mastermind, somebody that's completely out of our industry. And I very quickly got led with the group energy, where the group needs to go. We were having trainings with external coaches. There was one that was talking about funnels and how you bring people into your business. And I very quickly got led into creating funnels for my business, even though I hadn't even stabilized what I was doing. And I look back at that time and think, gosh, I threw thousands of pounds at it. I have a funnel on the website, probably worked for about a month. Did it get me anything? No, because I didn't go at it with the right energy. So yes, coaching can absolutely help you. And as part of what I do, I naturally do a lot of mindset coaching anyway, because of where I've come from and what I've been through. I think I've kind of become a self-proclaimed kind of self-help coach, because if I can do it for myself, then I'm very good at identifying gaps for people or picking up on self-talk. The negative self-talk. It is.
Yeah. I mean, what you've been through as a child.
Of course.
Through your adulthood.
I'll hear clients that will say to me, well, I can't do that. And I'm like, why not? Why not?
I think I said that to you many years ago. And you were like,
probably.
No, I'm not sure. And now
Probably.
look at you.
And this is the thing. I think the right company,
yeah.
you know, they say that your tribe is who make you.
I save a lot
yeah.
of your posts now. Like, oh, that was really good. Oh, that's a really good tip.
Thank you.
It's it's just making it real, and it's easy. You're not
Yes.
giving these big, like a funnel, for example. No. It's something that somebody can probably just implement, and
Yes.
it's okay, and they feel like they've done something.
And I think the reason I do that is I want to make it simple. I don't want people to have this difficult time implementing their brand. I've seen far too many people that have joined various trainings, masterminds, coaches, and everything is shown to you at a very top level. You're not shown how to apply it to your brand or how to apply it to your business. And I've been there. I've been burnt by that, which is why I'm very much about keeping it simple and giving people a quick, easy way of doing something.
And then they feel they've achieved something,
Exactly.
right? And they're like starting to grow their business, starting to see results. I love that. So if someone's listening now and they're brand new, right? They haven't even started, there's just an idea in their head, what would you say to them?
Get clear on what it is you want to do, who you are, what type of person you need to become to serve the type of client you want to have. Don't rush into it. You know, really get clear on your messaging, your pricing, your service, and make sure that you're paying yourself a decent amount for what you have. And there's going to be price points at every level. You know, there are people who charge a lot less than I do for brand design. There are people that charge a lot more than what I do. And it's about their experience. The more experience you gain, the more clients you've had, the more you can increase your price. So when you're starting out, start small. You know, grab yourself a big piece of paper, write down what it is that you want to achieve. Who do you need to become to be that person? And what end result are you getting for your clients?
And what if someone's already established and they want to refresh, new brand design? You can help with all of that too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of the clients that I work with at the moment, they are generally established 2 to 3 years in business. They already have an established base, established brand, but they're venturing into new spaces, whether that's working with corporate companies, they're providing trainings for corporates, they might be venturing into new areas. And that's a great space to be in to review your brand. Because let's say you had colours that worked for you for one-to-one clients. You know, you may have had a pink. And I'm not saying pink doesn't work for corporates, but you may have had a very kind of feminine looking brand. Now you're reaching into the corporate world.
Yeah.
It may not resonate as well. You may need your messaging to be sharper. You may need your brand to come across sharper. And that's where a lot of my clients are at the moment. So we're really working on going right back to the beginning. Who you are. What are your foundations? You know, your foundation has to be strong before you can build on it. Once we've established the foundation, that's when we go into the identity. That's when we're looking at the colours and we're looking at your brand words. We're looking at what does your brand need to stand for before we even go into creating the logos.
So much goes into it that people don't realise.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
You know, we just think, yeah, let's make a logo.
Well, this is it. A lot of people will make that mistake as newbies.
Yeah.
They'll go on to Fiverr or People Per Hour or even Canva. And they'll make their own logo. Yes, it serves you for a purpose. And a lot of people think, oh, but I just need to get my business out there, which is great. Yes, you do. You need to get yourself and your services out there. But if you're going to grow that brand and you want to be taken seriously, then you need to really get it done professionally.
So how do people find you? Website, socials?
I have a website. I'm also on Instagram. So website is lilaccrowsdesigns.co.uk. Instagram I'm on, which is lilaccrowsdesigns UK. I'm also on LinkedIn under Sonali Tank. Yeah.
So if someone wants to contact you, what's the best way? Any of those?
Any of those, really. Wherever you find me, come have a chat, book in a discovery call, and I'd love to hear your story.
Thank you. And just one last question. Would you say it's really important to keep showing up with your videos and your brand, who you are?
Absolutely.
Okay. Rather than hiding, like you said.
Absolutely. I mean, I have people that will say to me, oh, I'm just going to go quiet over the Christmas period. I'm just going to take a little break. And I'll find clients that get too comfortable in taking that break. What happens to the business online? Your views tank. The engagement tanks because suddenly people haven't seen you for a long time. So staying consistent, and obviously staying consistent with your brand. You're teaching your audience to look out for you.
When it's the algorithm as well, right?
Of course, of course. You know, when people see something familiar, they're more likely to stop and listen or stop and look at what you've done. Whereas if you've got a mishmash of different colours, a mishmash of different fonts, you're really speaking authority.
Thank you. It's also interesting. Thank you for sharing your personal story and how Lilac Rose came. Love that for you. So if anyone's listening, get in touch. Thank you so much, Sonali.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.